Senator Shoebridge.
Oh, thanks, Acting Deputy. Well, again we now see Labor and the Coalition, but with their new friends in One Nation, coming in to support another US forever war. Labor and the Coalition and One Nation are now the three war parties in this parliament. And they've never seen an attack by Donald Trump, an attack by Benjamin Netanyahu that they haven't wanted to back in and support. And we have seen the Albanese Labor government rush to be the first country in the world to back in Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu's latest illegal war. Literally rushing to back in a war that Labor knows is in gross breach of international law. And there's a reason that the Foreign Minister has refused to discuss, even discuss, whether or not this war is illegal. It's because Labor knows it's illegal. And Labor knows that the arguments put forward by their friend Donald Trump and his running mate Benjamin Netanyahu, that this is about stopping some imminent nuclear threat in Iran, they know that's a lie. Just like they knew that the so-called weapons of mass destruction that was used to justify a previous Labor war was a lie. Labor is going into bat for Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu in this illegal, widespread attack against the Iranian people, and they know they're doing it on a lie. It is extraordinary that neither Foreign Minister Wong or Prime Minister Albanese are willing to come out and tell the Australian people the truth, that US military bases here, Pine Gap, Northwest Cape, are being used to target and support Donald Trump's illegal attacks on Iran. They know that that's the purpose of Pine Gap. They know it's used to target military attacks in the Middle East. It's been used to target military attacks in Gaza. Now it's being used to target military attacks in Iran. And what does Labor say? They say, we won't even mention it. We won't talk about it. Because it's bloody awkward for Labor to see them backing in a war which has already killed more than 100 school kids in the first 24 hours. Schoolgirls being pulled out of rubble from a war that Labor supports. Multiple schools being hit and targeted and destroyed from a war that Labor supports. A hospital being blown apart by Israeli missiles from a war that Labor supports with their new friends in One Nation and the Coalition. Is there no line in the sand that Labor's willing to draw to say they won't take this step with Donald Trump, they won't take this step with Benjamin Netanyahu? It seems there is no line in the sand. And they come here and say that this bombing and killing in Iran is for the Iranian people, as though that Donald Trump, their friend, Donald Trump, cares the slightest about the interests of the Iranian people. Trump, Labor's partner in AUKUS, the Coalition's partner in AUKUS, One Nation's partner in AUKUS, Trump doesn't care about peace and human rights in the United States, let alone in Iran. And you come here and you peddle this nonsense that somehow this is about some positive regime change, just like the US's endless forever war in Iraq was meant to be about positive regime change, or the US endless war in Afghanistan was meant to be about positive regime change, so-called for the people of Afghanistan or the people of Iraq. Labor's support for this war is ignorant of history. The US is engaging in this war not because they support women, life, freedom. The Greens have been on the record for years supporting women, life, freedom, working with the Iranian people who are showing brave resistance to a brutal regime. But we know that foreign bombing, foreign attacks, blowing up schools, blowing up hospitals, that isn't about the Iranian people. The Iranian people have been being killed by the brutal regime in Iran, and now they're being killed by bombs and missiles from Israel and the United States, and Labor backs that war in. And then you have the nerve to stand up and say you want it to de-escalate. You oppose the escalation of violence in the regime. The missiles and bombs that are now falling around the region as Iran responds to the attack. Well, the Greens too oppose that bombing and killing. We hate seeing the missiles and the bombs landing in Dubai, around the region. Of course that's appalling. But it was an inevitable response to the latest US illegal war that Labor has backed in. It wasn't an accident. The chaos and the killing that is now spreading to the region was always going to be a response to this illegal war by Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. And you pretend that you care. You back in the original crime, and then you pretend you care about the response. People see through Labor. They see you joining with the coalition and joining with One Nation in your rush to support Donald Trump and his latest illegal war. They see the Foreign Minister hiding from basic accountability about whether or not this is consistent with international law. They see Prime Minister Albanese refusing to do a press conference and talk about the scores and scores of Iranian kids who have been killed in just the first 24 hours of the war that he's supporting. They see you hiding from this, and they see you hiding from it when you didn't even want to debate in the Senate this morning about it, because apparently you were too busy. Other things to do. You didn't want to talk about the kids that are being killed, about the hospitals that are being blown up, about the chaos that you're supporting in the region. And think about what happened last time the United States did a war of choice in this region. They went in under another lie about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. We know that was a lie, just like this war's based on a lie. They went in and we had statements from the US leadership at the time as chaos enveloped Iraq, as systems destroyed, as hunger spread, as killing spread. We had the United States saying, oh, well, freedom's untidy, isn't it? Freedom's untidy. And just the people of Iraq will just have to suffer through 2 decades of bombings and killings and chaos to satisfy the US war machine and the latest and the US illegal war on Iraq. And now you want that on Iran. And you tell us you care about the Iranian people. Well, I can tell you that the mums who are pulling their kids out of the rubble, they don't see freedom. They're not talking about regime change. They're grieving about the loss of their kids, their daughters. They see through you. They see through your endless support for war. They see through your toadying to Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. And they see their country potentially being thrown into chaos. And think about it. If Iran falls into chaos like Iraq fell into chaos, like Syria fell into chaos, think about what that means for the world and the instability that spreads across all the neighbouring countries that are already so fragile. And yet you back it in. You don't have a plan B. There is no plan B. You bomb and you kill and you support Donald Trump's bombing and killing, and you just are reckless about the consequences on the Iranian people or in the region as a whole. And we hear Donald Trump saying, well, now it's up to the Iranian people to somehow, after the bombing and the killing, to somehow, through some unspecified path, overthrow the brutal dictatorship. We support the Iranian people's calls for freedom. We support those brave Iranian men, women and students who have been out there calling for freedom. But their freedom is further from being achieved than ever. Because the regime will use the foreign attack, its monopoly of state-sanctioned violence, like it has before. Only now the killing will be from the regime and from Israel and from the United States all at the same time. The Greens stand for peace here. We oppose that those troops who are embedded in the United States military that Labor doesn't want to talk about, we oppose them being part of this bombing. We oppose Pine Gap being used in the bombing. We oppose North West Cape being used in the bombing. We oppose our toadying relationship with the United States. We support an independent defence and foreign policy for Australia so we don't keep getting involved in the United States forever wars, so that we don't rain death and destruction down on the next country in the Middle East that Labor decides it wants to target with Donald Trump. And I say this, we are the only party in this parliament who stands on the side of international law, who stands genuinely on the side of the Iranian people, who stands genuinely on the side of peace. And we now see you for what you are. The three war parties, One Nation, the Coalition and Labor, who've never seen a US war they don't want to back in. Millions of Australians disagree with you. They want a government of principle, they want a government of peace, they want the best for the Iranian people, and they say no to Trump's and Netanyahu's war, and we stand with them.
Senator Shoebridge, did you wish to
I move an amendment circulated in my name. I think it's an amendment to Labor's amendment.
Thank you, Senator Shoebridge.
Yep.